so let's get into it. Hi everyone, I'm Anjali, an international human rights lawyer who quit her big law job to start a nonprofit to combat gender-based violence. How are we doing that? Well, two things. One, we're building a coalition of change makers, organizations, advocates, and survivors, and bringing them together into the first ever global digital hub. It's an online space where organizations and advocates and survivors can collaborate in real time, share resources in real time, share funding opportunities in real time, the works. The second thing that we're doing is an awareness and fundraising campaign for our partner organizations. We're not doing that the old-fashioned way, the fundraising galas. Forget fundraising galas. We're climbing mountains instead. I'm going to be climbing the highest mountain on each continent to raise funds and awareness for our partner organizations and amplify the voices and stories of survivors, like myself. We're calling this series of campaigns Survivors to Summit. Survivors to Summits is starting this December in Antarctica. We are documenting this process with a documentary, but pre-production for that is underway. So I thought I would just give a little update. Let's talk about documentary pre-production. So one, we've been figuring out the structure of the story. What is the story that we want to tell as I'm climbing these mountains and amplifying the voices and power of survivors, as I'm fundraising, as I'm connecting with organizations on the ground? How do we tie that all together into a compelling story that people like you want to be watching? The second is reaching out to potential partner organizations, right? We can't do this alone. There are all of these amazing organizations and advocates and survivors working on the ground in the countries that we're going to climb. How can we connect with those organizations? How can we amplify their work and the stories that they tell while we're on these mountains? And the third is funding. This is arguably the hardest part. Funding the expedition, funding the documentary. We need $50,000 this year to get this up and running, to make it work. And honestly, at this point, I am truly considering just pulling all of my savings and just paying for this myself because I feel so strongly that it's important. But yeah, we've been applying to grants, we've been applying for sponsorships, we've been trying to work with brands. It's like, it's a monster. Our overall goal for funding this year, right, it's $50,000 for our expedition, to make the expedition even happen. I want to raise at least $35,000 for our partner organizations, our frontline organizations on the ground. And then for our global digital hub, which we're creating, our big technology, that is our end goal. This year we're going to need about $60,000 to get a minimum viable product up and ready to go so that we can start pitching that to investors. So that's $60K plus $50K to $110K plus $35K. Like, we're looking at, I would love $150K this year to make all of this happen. Yeah. So we've been pushing hard on funding, but honestly, fundraising for this has been the probably biggest challenge that we've been facing. And I get more and more stressed about it every day. So let me tell you a few things that I've learned about being an entrepreneur and starting a new thing that nobody told me. The first is that it is lonely. People are dropping like flies. And I get it, right? It's a long-term vision. It's at least a 5-year project when it comes to climbing mountains and this awareness campaign, and when it comes to creating this global digital hub technology. But it is lonely. Sometimes I feel like it's me and my brain that are the driving force behind it, and the only thing that's going to keep this momentum going. And that can be really tough. You know, of course, people have other things going on. People have lives. People have families. People have different priorities. But for me, the priority is this. And so it can feel very lonely. I feel a lot of people have better things to do than dedicate their whole lives to this. I do not. And it doesn't help that most of my day is spent spending emails and messages into the ether. You know, I was sitting in front of a computer and not really interacting with people on a daily basis. You know, sometimes I have meetings every few days. I have meetings and I get to chat with people, and that's amazing and always so fruitful. But a lot of times I'm just sending emails. I'm sending grant applications. I'm like, how can we get funding for all of these things that I want to do? And it can be really, really lonely to be doing that and feeling like, you know, it's a one-person company. That's what it is right now. Second learning is that when you're at a corporation, you're so conditioned to be doing everything for that company, right? It's like your whole life is around the needs of that company. What I'm doing now is like an ecosystem of projects. So I've had to switch my mindset to being really more freelance based rather than, and project based rather than company based, if that makes sense. So for example, there's this ecosystem of shit that I'm working on. Not shit, ecosystem of important things that I'm working on, whether it is the Global Digital Hub, whether it is Survivors to Summits, our awareness campaign, and training for these mountains, getting the funding for these mountains, then getting the funding for our Global Digital Hub, whether it's the fundraising aspect of what we're doing, putting on events or trying to figure out how to actually raise funds for our partner organizations, whether it is speaking that I'm doing, so going and giving talks to corporations or at conferences around what we're doing and the power of coalition building and the importance of coalition building, the importance of we in actually transforming the world. Whether it's writing a book proposal, there's this ecosystem of projects that I'm working on, and understanding life as project-based instead of trying to go all in just on one thing has been really interesting and a really big learning experience for me, because I've had to learn how to time block. It's like I can't do everything at the same time, but I can't only do one thing for a week. I have to keep all these different, it's like a juggling act. I have to keep all of these different balls up in the air at the same time, if you will. And that has been a real mindset shift. I think I'm getting the hang of it, and it's really fun now that I'm getting the hang of it, but it took a little while to get the hang of it. And the third thing is that clarity comes with time. And I am not a patient person, okay? I was like, I want to have impact, and I want to have impact now. I'm not patient, I want this to happen, I want to build this stuff. But it takes time, one, to build this technology and to build this stuff, build an organization, build relationships. But it also takes time to clarify mission, because it takes conversations with other people. It takes understanding what the problem is. It takes actually thinking and not just doing. And so for me, clarity around building this global digital hub for survivor-centered organizations has only come with time. Clarity around our Survivors to Summits campaign, shouting from the mountaintops about gender-based violence, that has really only come with time. And I'm glad that we are giving ourselves time. I'm glad that I'm giving myself time. But also I'm really impatient and I want to just get stuff done. So that's a brief update, I suppose, on where we are.